a show that's very special to me. It is our Strength Healing Healthy Living show. I love to inspire people to live a healthy lifestyle so that they can do all that God has called them to do. So I'm excited about our guest tonight, but first I just wanted to tell you my mom is unable to be with us this evening, but we still have a great show planned, and I know that you're going to really enjoy hearing just some really practical tips tonight for how you can honor your body. And I want to read our scripture right off the top. This is a scripture that we always love to use when we're doing a healthy living show. It's 1 Corinthians 6:19 through 20. And I think that my mic is not on. Is that right? Am I good now? Okay. All right. So maybe you didn't hear any of that. That is live TV, people. Anyway, tonight is our Strength Healing Healthy Living show, and my mom is unable to be with us this evening. But we've got some incredible guests with us tonight. And I love to inspire people to live a healthy life. You know, we all have passions and goals in our life, things that we want to do. But how can we walk out those things if our health holds us back? And God has called us to do things, but sometimes our health can hold us back from our calling as well. So I wanted to read 1 Corinthians 6:19 through 20. And it says, "Do you not know that your bodies are temples of the Holy Spirit, who is in you, whom you have received from God? You're not your own. You were bought at a price. Therefore, honor God with your bodies." And that's what I want to encourage you to do tonight, is to honor the Lord with your body. You know, I always say we don't have multiple bodies to trade in. We have one body. We have to honor it, take care of it, because when it gives out, we don't get to trade it in for a new one. So honor your body. Tonight, I wanted to talk a little bit about stress and anxiety and depression. Unfortunately, there's just too many people dealing with this. Stress can cause physical illness in our body. Anxiety and depression can do the same thing. And there's nearly 8% of Americans 12 years and older that experience depression. And that is just unacceptable. And I'm thinking about all the things that cause stress, and stress leads to those things, anxiety and depression. A loss of a family member causes stress. Financial difficulty can cause stress on you that leads to physical illness. Or maybe getting ready to move, you know, packing a house can cause stress and anxiety, or a relationship. But there are some practical things that we can do to help relieve the stress, to help relieve any kind of anxiety that may come. And fruits and vegetables are one of those practical things. They play a role in our diet and in our mood. And depression is linked to inflammation in the brain. And so guess what? Fruits and veggies, they are loaded with antioxidants. They're high in antioxidants and also lots of phytonutrients. So when we take plants, fruits and vegetables, so when I refer to plants, or anyone refers to plants tonight, we're talking about fruits and vegetables. When we take those, they help repair damage and decrease inflammation in our brain. And you know, I was reading an article earlier this week about depression and people, the number of people that have depression, they miss work. And when we miss work, guess what? Employers lose money. And so there was about 10 big corporate companies that did this testing, because millions of dollars was being lost of people out of work because of suffering from depression and anxiety. And what they wanted to do was to see what impact the diet had on emotional well-being. And what they found was a plant-based diet showed like significant improvement in depression, anxiety, stress, and even fatigue. So plants, guys, eat more fruits and vegetables. It's only gonna help you. And another thing I wanna give, just a practical tip that costs you no money and will probably make you feel good, is to just get outside. Go for a walk, go for a hike. Just being outdoors, vitamin C, it relieves and reduces stress. It relieves and reduces depression or symptoms of depression. And so that is just a great opportunity. And if you can't go for a walk, if you can't go for a hike, just allow God's handiwork, nature, to just soothe your soul, your body, your mind, and even if you just sit quietly 5 to 10 minutes and let your brain have a brain break, this is incredible for stress reduction and also help you sleep a little bit better at night. So I hope just those couple things, plants and sunshine. They're free. Well, the plants aren't free unless you have a garden, but they're super simple, they're practical, and the sunshine is always free. So try to integrate those into your lifestyle and see if that just helps kind of relieve some stress. So my mom and I did a recipe segment. I make these energy bites and they are so delicious. They're like a healthy treat. Well, they are a healthy treat. So if you're watching things that you eat and you feel like, oh, I don't get to have a lot of, sweets, this is something that's a little bit on the sweet side, but super healthy. And so just enjoy this recipe of me and my mom, Mary, in the kitchen making some no-bake energy bites. Hi, I'm Toni Suchka with Strength Healing, and this is my mom, Mary Sloan.
Hi, Toni.
Hi. I'm a personal trainer and a weight management specialist that focuses on good nutrition. And today we're going to show you how to make a recipe that's going to be simple, quick, delicious, and the most important, healthy. These are going to be chocolate no-bake energy bites, and they provide exactly what it says, energy for you. They're also packed with protein and a ton of superfoods that provide great health benefits. So I'm just going to show you how easy this is to put together, Mom. I know you've tried these before.
We actually did these at a conference, didn't we?
Yes.
And they were a big hit.
Yes. Everyone came by the table to grab an energy bite to get through those women's conferences.
I think they came by 2 times.
Yeah. So this recipe is super simple. All the ingredients are laid out here. We've got oatmeal, unsweetened coconut, all natural peanut butter, ground flax, and then there's a couple options on this. You can either use raw, 100% raw, unsweetened cacao or cocoa, but I chose to use a protein powder. This is called a Complete Juice Plus protein powder, and the flavor's chocolate. So I decided to use this because it provides more protein, and it also has over 10 fruits and vegetables inside the protein powder. So these are actually going to be packed with all kinds of nutrition and nutrients and phytonutrients.
Well, I like the fact that we got a little chocolate going on with it. Now, don't we all crave chocolate a little bit sometimes?
A little bit.
And you let us have this.
So this is going to be good for a sweet treat that you can have that you have to, no guilt with that. I make these all the time. We have them in the house. Let's go ahead and start putting some of these ingredients together. We'll just pour the oatmeal in.
The dry oatmeal first?
Yes, this oatmeal, I used gluten-free oatmeal, and it's not necessary, but it is an option to be able to use gluten-free. So 1 cup of dry oatmeal, and then we're going to have 2/3 cup of unsweetened coconut, shredded coconut.
Ooh, that looks good.
Put that in there. And then we have all natural nut butter. Now I've chosen to use peanut butter, but you could also use almond butter, or you could even use sunflower butter, a seeded butter. So I'm just going to pour this in here. This is one of the ingredients that's going to help make it stick together.
I love peanut butter.
So do I. So do I. I used to not like it as a child, but I have grown to love peanut butter. So
our ground flax.
Ground flax, we're going to have 1/4 cup of ground flax. You want to make sure that is already ground. It's very important so that your body can digest that.
You've got 1/3 cup of honey.
1/3 cup of honey. Now this is raw honey, and it's actually local honey. So I always make sure to get raw and filtered local.
I love honey too.
Yes, it's good mixed with peanut butter, right?
Yes.
My kids love to mix peanut butter and honey. I remember doing that with biscuits when I was a little girl.
Oh, we had biscuits to go with it.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, you got 1/4 cup of unsweetened cocoa powder.
Or I'm going to use this Juice Plus protein powder. This is what I said had over 10 different fruits, vegetables, and grains.
Nice.
So this is chocolate. I'm going to pour that in there, and that's going to provide our chocolate.
Okay, and you got is that a tablespoon of chia seeds?
Yes, I'm going to add that.
Yeah, and then you got 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract.
There we go. So all of our ingredients are already in here. Now I make these, I have these in the house all the time. I keep them together all the time. These are great. Even when I travel, I have these just for the road, something easy and healthy to grab. if you want a snack, or like I said, a healthy treat. Now you're gonna mix all this together, and you're gonna have to get your hands dirty and really get in there and massage all these ingredients together. So after they're massaged together, you're gonna put it in the refrigerator and let it chill for about 20 or 30 minutes, and we've already done that, just especially for you. So this is what we have now. So it's gonna form together more of like a hard solid here. So basically, we're just gonna grab some of this. Mom, grab a little. Okay. And this recipe is gonna provide, depending on how large you make your portions, it'll make about 20 to 24 energy bites for you.
Make sure your hands are real clean.
Absolutely. So, and you just form them into little round portions. And then I've got a few here, and there you go.
Yes.
They're perfect to take on the road with you, keep in the house.
Do we get to taste it?
Yes, absolutely.
Can I taste this one?
Yes. So, it's got all those superfoods in there. My only advice when eating these is to check your teeth before you leave, because those chia seeds can get sneak in between those teeth.
Don't smile too big after you've had a bite.
Right. Do
that's
you like
delicious.
them? It's good, right?
Delicious.
So if you enjoyed this and you would like to see more recipes and tips like this, then you can go to my website, strengthhealing.com, and subscribe to my newsletter. Well, I hope that looked yummy to you, and you go out and get those ingredients. You may just already have them in your pantry. They're super easy to make, and so I know that you'll enjoy them. If you try them, send us a little message and let me know how you like them. I want to introduce our first guest tonight. Miller Schwinn is here with us. Welcome. Thank you for being with us.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me.
Yes, my aunt, Norvis, had said, you've got to have Miller on, and I've known your mom for many, many years. So it's exciting to hear that you've now become a health coach.
Yes.
So I want to read a little bit about you to our viewers. Miller is 28 years old. She was born and raised in Greenville, South Carolina. She has a 4-year-old daughter and a little puppy. She graduated from Greenville Tech's nursing program in May of 2019. She started working at Greenville Memorial Hospital in the OR, and currently works at as a school nurse at Legacy Early College. She spends her free time doing anything outdoors and taking her daughter with her hiking and swimming and all kinds of adventures that keeps you active, it sounds like.
Yes, she keeps me very active.
And then you've added on to the list of things that you do. Mom is a very big job.
It is.
And then working in the OR and as a school nurse, and now you're doing health coaching one-on-one.
Yes. So the health coaching is a new adventure for me. It kind of stemmed from, I guess, just seeing the need in the hospital. So I think nursing is kind of what led me into the health coaching field.
Well, tell me a little bit about your background in healthcare.
Sure. So I graduated nursing school in 2019 and started working in the hospital. My very first job as a nurse was in the operating room. And I was there for about a year and a half, and I left the OR to go to like a med-surg unit right in the midst of the pandemic. And it was actually a COVID unit. So I spent a lot of time on a COVID unit. And I'm still there as needed, but then I started working full-time as a school nurse and have started health coaching on the side.
So do you feel like the experience that you've had in the hospital has contributed to you wanting more and more to have a holistic outlook with your health?
Oh, absolutely. I think working in the hospital, I've seen so much, I guess, just human suffering that you see in the hospital. And a lot of what I saw, I felt that it could be avoided. I felt like, well, maybe they don't have to be here. What if we, made lifestyle changes so that we don't end up in the hospital in the first place? And then we would see so many patients come in, they'd be discharged and then readmitted with the same problems, the same health issues. And I just felt like a lot of that could have been avoided to begin with. And so that's when I kind of saw a need for health education. There was kind of a lack of that in the hospital. And so I think that's really what pushed me to pursue holistic living for myself, and I just wanted to share that with others as well.
You know, I learned many, many years ago that even in medical school, there's only like one semester of nutrition.
Oh, I believe it.
And so, I mean, it makes sense that, you know, and I love doctors. I'm so thankful that we live in a country that we
Yes.
have such great medical care and doctors. But the key is finding the right doctor
It
that will
is.
work with you
It
and
is.
being an advocate for your own health as well. So what do you think is some of the greatest contributors to the disease that we see today and the different ailments that people come in to the hospital with?
I would say diet is absolutely one of the biggest contributors. If you look at what we eat now versus what we ate, you know, 100 years ago, what our ancestors were eating way before we
Yeah.
ever existed, it's so different.
Mm-hmm.
Our food now, it's all man-made, it's all packaged and processed. And what we were eating, you know, a long time ago, it was, we grew our own vegetables, we butchered our own meat, we made our own breads, and we knew exactly where our food was coming from. So I think diet is a huge part of it. But also, so is lifestyle. I think we lead a very sedentary lifestyle now. And, you know, back in our ancestors' time, they didn't have to set aside time to go to the gym or watch their steps on their Fitbit.
Working on their phone or
Exactly,
their
on their
farm.
computer,
We're
yeah.
working on our phone, working on the farm. Like
Exactly.
they were always active
Always
and moving.
active. You know, being physically active, it was the very essence of our survival back in the day, and we don't have that anymore. So I think that's a huge part of
Oh yeah.
what contributes to our
You know, you always see that
diseases
graphic. You know, do you want to heal or kill? And the heal is all the plants, and the kill is like the burger, the fries,
Right.
all the processed food. And it
Right.
really is, because early man ate up to about 6 pounds of plants a day.
Absolutely.
And we don't do that. And today, the SAD diet, which is the standard American diet,
absolutely.
which the acronym kind of fits.
It does.
The SAD
it really
diet.
does.
You know, they recommend now, I want to say 9 to 13 vegetables, fruits and vegetables a day. They used to be lower, but it's had to be like lifted more and more because of the health in our nation.
Right.
And so, but the sad thing is about the SAD diet is that ketchup and French fries is considered a vegetable.
Yeah.
And so, anyway,
Yes.
don't get me
We
off
won't even
on
get
that.
into that.
So,
Yeah.
why do you refer your coaching program is called Inherent Health? Tell me about that.
Right. So inherent, that's just another word for innate or ingrained, meaning that we're born with it. And our healing, our health, we really are born with it. So God gave us an incredible immune system, and in order to fight off diseases and repair our bodies from injury, we have that ability ingrained in us. Our health is inherent, but we have to provide our bodies the necessary tools in order to repair from injuries and in order to fight off these diseases. So the necessary tools are eating healthy, are eating fruits and vegetables, and getting physical exercise, getting sunshine, like you said. Emotional health and mental health are right up there with physical health. It all goes hand in
Yeah,
hand.
absolutely.
It really does.
I mean, I feel like when we talk about diet, I think when we talk about health, people go back to diet.
Yeah.
And it's not just the diet, it's really important. But like you said, mental health is important.
It is.
And the food is a tool, just like the sunshine is a tool and exercise is a tool.
Absolutely.
And if you can fill up your toolbox with a lot of these great tools, then you'll start to see your health turn around.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit what you feel like the benefit of working with a one-on-one health coach gives.
So my job as a health coach is to provide education. I want to be there to fill in those gaps where nutrition education is not, it's not prominent in the hospital. So I want to fill in those gaps and provide that education and knowledge. And I also want to show people that there are alternatives to conventional medicine. There are ways to improve your health that don't involve taking another pill and, you know, finding another surgery. There are ways to get your body healthy again. So I'd say that's really my role as a health coach, but also to cheer you on, because people get stuck in habits
Yeah.
and we get stuck in a rut, and
Have
I
some
want
accountability.
to exactly hold you accountable and help you find a way to improve your health that works with your lifestyle to make it, you know, easy every day.
I remember years ago, my husband and I did this 15-day detox. I mean, it wasn't just clean eating, it was a detox. It was
Yeah.
tough. It was like
They
remove
are.
everything that you love about life and then let's talk.
Yes.
And it was an elimination diet too. So to bring things back in to see how we would feel. And it was the best sleep we've ever had in our life.
I
mean,
believe
it
it.
wasn't a lifestyle you could live on a detox like that. But my husband, I'll never forget, he said, I'm seriously considering changing my entire lifestyle just because of how great he felt. And of course,
For
you know,
sure.
you add it in and you get back to normal and then you have to kind of do it again. But yeah, it definitely makes such a huge difference in so many areas of our life.
It does.
So tell us what the word says about healing and medicine and how this affects you and your practice.
So you actually touched on the exact verse that I was going to mention earlier, but God says that our bodies are a temple and to honor him with our bodies. So I think the best way that we can do that is to provide our bodies and treat our bodies the way God intended so that we can fulfill our purpose. Each one of us is here for a purpose. Each one of us has, you know, a calling that God has placed on our lives, and it's hard to fulfill that if we are physically unwell.
Right.
And so I think by treating our bodies the way God intended and eating the right foods that God put on this earth for us, even the plants around us are medicinal. I mean, there's so much good that God's put on this earth for us. And
it goes back to Daniel, you know, when they all ate at the king's table and Daniel said, you know, he just ate from what God provided from the earth.
Exactly.
You know, he ate the plants and the vegetables and he came stronger. So, you know, it definitely, there's healing agents and all the food that we eat just causes so much inflammation in our body, and then inflammation causes disease, and then we find ourselves, you know, and I feel like the not feeling good becomes so many people's normal that
It
they get
does.
used to not feeling good and they don't even know that they can feel better.
that's absolutely true.
So tell us, give our viewers some tips of some ways that they can, you know, just healthy tips of changes they can start making towards a healthy lifestyle.
Yeah, I would say the first thing to do is give yourself some grace. I think we really beat ourselves up sometimes. We're too hard on ourselves, and we seek health for the wrong reasons. I think a lot of times it becomes aesthetic, that we're worried about our weight and what our body looks like. But first of all, know that your body is capable of so much. Like, what you dislike about your body is actually, I mean, you might look at yourself in the mirror and think, oh, I wish my tummy was flatter, but your gut is actually doing so much for you. I mean, women, you're able to carry children. So first of all, give yourself some grace and know that you're actually doing great. And then I would also say that just trying to eat as natural as possible. You know, read the ingredients on the back of the cereal box and try to find the one with the least amount of ingredients, and try to eat from the earth, you know, try to
I always say
your
if
own
you read the
garden.
ingredients and it's a paragraph long and you can't pronounce half the words, then
That's
you
a
might
red
want to
flag.
put it back on the shelf.
That is a red
right?
flag for sure.
Wow, well, such good tips. Thank you
Yes.
for just coming and sharing, and thank you for spreading yourself like you are to really help. I know that the people in the hospital that have you as a nurse are very lucky
Well, thank
for
you.
you to be able to kind of just give them a little bit of education, because what we don't know, you know?
Right.
And so when we can educate ourselves in those areas, then we can see change.
Right.
So thanks, Miller, for
Well,
being with
thank
us
you.
tonight. Now I'm going to go to a clip of a little bit of info and tips I share about how much you should be exercising. I get that question sometimes, so check this out and see if it helps. Hi, I'm Toni Suchka with Strength Healing. I'm a personal trainer and I love to encourage people to live a healthy lifestyle. A lot of times I have people ask me, how much should I be exercising? Well, the American Heart Association advises 30 minutes a day for 5 days a week, but that might not be where you can start, and that's okay. As long as you get started, that's the key. It may look like 2 days a week or 3 days, and then you can work yourself up to the 5 days. But my advice is to find what you love to do. If you don't love running, then don't run. There's too many options out there to choose from. You may enjoy strength training and lifting weights. Some people like high intensity interval training, or maybe you like Zumba or a dance class. There's so many options out there to choose from. You could ride a bike, take a spin class, swim, even walking your dog is exercise. As long as you're staying active, that's what the most important thing is. The second thing is to have an accountability partner. Just recently I was teaching a class at the gym, and I had 2 sisters come into my class. They've joined the gym together and they're keeping each other accountable, trying out new classes, and sometimes we even make friends in group fitness classes. Knowing someone is waiting on you and counting on you is going to encourage you to stick with it until it becomes habit. Exercise is just a tool to live a healthier lifestyle. Just like a healthy diet, or even sleeping, or getting good rest, or drinking water. Living a healthy lifestyle involves lots of tools, and exercise is one of them. You know, we only have one body to live in, so I encourage you to take care of it. We don't get to exchange it for another one. So small changes made one day at a time is what improves your health. I encourage you to get moving, get active, so that you can live a long, healthy life. For more tips and encouragement, you can follow me at my website on strengthhealing.com or on social media on Facebook and Instagram at Strength Healing. Well, I hope that helps answer your questions about how much you should be exercising. I am happy to have our next guest here, Tina Marie Bloomer. She was on with us one other time, but she's here tonight to share about healthy living. So thank you, Tina, for being with us tonight. And your daughter's also going to be with us, Sophia, Mendieta. So I'm excited to hear from her, just from a younger generation, and you know, her outlook on the healthy living and some advice that she'll have to give some of our younger viewers.
Yes.
But I'm going to read a little bit about Tina. Tina Marie has worked in the wellness industry for over 30 years, a former fitness trainer and winner of the Outstanding Contribution to the Field of Nutrition Award on more than one occasion. She currently owns and operates a consulting and motivational business in Charlotte, North Carolina. The majority of her practice is dedicated to promoting whole food, plant-based nutrition. Yay! She has successfully inspired many individuals to not only shed countless pounds, but also decrease and even discontinue medications. That is the goal, right?
Yeah, it's very
exciting. If we can get our health to a place to where we start shedding those medications, then that's definitely a win.
That's true healing.
Yes, absolutely. Allowing the plants to heal our body.
Yes.
And I wanted to talk to you about eating more plants. I know when you were here before, you brought one of your little favorite things and was showing it as a visual. But share with us from a dietitian's point of view why it's important to eat the rainbow and all the benefits, and what exactly a plant-based diet is. Some people may be watching tonight and may have never heard that term, or they're unsure of, like, what does that look like for me?
Right. And a whole food plant-based diet, so we're focusing on eating the rainbow of color. So it's maximizing plant foods while minimizing meat, dairy, processed food, refined foods, and even some oils. And I like to call it God's Pharmacy. So focus on eating God's Pharmacy: fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, grains, and beans.
Well, that's just simple, right? Keep it simple, sister. KISS.
Yeah,
that's right, the
exactly.
acronym.
And it's not that you cut out meat completely. So, but it's just making that colorful God's Pharmacy more of your plate.
Right. I always say, make half the plate colorful. So you talked about protein. Not everybody, some people cut it out altogether, and some people need to for whatever medical reasons, and other people tolerate protein well. Tell us some good sources of protein and calcium that we can get.
Well, sources of protein are beans, beans and rice. You get your amino acids. So those 20 amino acids, 9 of which are essential And so, but you get a lot of those from your beans and your grains. But all foods have some sort of amino acids in it. It's like those little pop beads when, you know, I don't know if your child had those pop beads, they pop together. So, but there's amino acids in everything. So, and then for calcium, greens and beans are great sources. And unlike dairy, they have a lot of vitamins, minerals, and nutrients phytonutrients in there.
Yeah, because when you say calcium, people think big tall glass of milk. But really, by the time it's processed, all the calcium's processed out of it.
Yeah, and it just doesn't get absorbed as well as plant-based calcium.
So have you always been on a plant-based diet? Did you grow up like that? Or?
No, I didn't grow up. I grew up meat and potatoes.
Yeah.
So yeah, Irish background, potatoes almost every meal.
Right.
So that's the way I grew up. And then I went to graduate school and I started reading the research and how the benefits of a plant-based diet. And so I started transitioning my family to a more plant-based diet.
So with you having that experience, because I grew up kind of the same way, you know, meat, potato, maybe some canned green beans, something like that. With you taking that information and knowledge you gained and transitioning your family, what tips would you give someone else that is looking to make that transition for themselves or their whole family? Because that can be hard when you have a whole family.
Right. Well, if you're talking about transitioning your family, first off, if you have young children, start early. You know, get their taste buds accustomed to the different flavors. Don't worry if they don't like them at first, but just continue to introduce them and have them try them. Now, if you have a family member, like if you have teens or a picky spouse, educate them. I spent a lot of time educating because by the time I started transitioning my family, my children were a little older, my boys particularly, and so I had to educate them. So watching movies like What the Health, Forks Over Knives. There was a movie that came out most recently called The Game Changers. I read the book by Eric Schlosser called Fast Food Nation, and that woke me up. Like, artificial strawberry flavor sounds innocuous, but it's actually 47 chemicals that make that up. And then we wonder why our kids are wigged out with, you know, hyperactivity and things like that because they're consuming these chemicals. Well, Eric Schlosser came out with a book called Chew on This. And so my kids, just because I decided to become a dietitian, did not make them automatic healthy eaters.
Right, yeah.
So I gave my tween boys this book called Chew on This. And after they read that, they didn't bother me to take them to McDonald's anymore.
Wow, that's a really great
And it's written for
advice.
tweens, yes. So educate them. Other things you can do transitioning is offer healthy choices, like, you know, win-win solutions. Like, one of the hardest times for me as a young mother was when they were hungry. I'm trying to make dinner. I got home from work. I'm trying to make dinner, and they're hungry. So I offer them a win-win solution. I'm like, so would you like an apple or grapes? Now, if they say, I don't want that kind of food, and they went over to the pantry and tried to get the, you know, Doritos or something else that was in there, I'm like, no, it's apple or grapes. And they're like, well, I don't want that food. I'm like, well, then you're not very hungry. Dinner will be served at 6, you know, scoot.
We're going to ask Sophia about this.
You'll have to ask her about that. So ways to transition, like if you want to become more plant-based, I have a couple of things, like if people want to contact me through my email, I have this that I can send them as a PDF, or if they want the book here, I don't know how much it will cost, whatever my cost is, not adding a dime more. And then I have one also for pediatrics.
That's awesome.
And it shows how you can transition. So when I work with families and trying to transition to more plant-based, I'll take like 2 or 3 recipes or 2 or 3 meals, because the typical family only eats 8 to 9 meals repeatedly.
Right.
So we'll take 2 or 3 of those meals and we'll like vegify it. So say it's a chili. So we'll pull the ground meat out and we'll put in texturized vegetable protein, or we'll add some more beans. Say it's pasta. You know, a lot of times you have people love pasta, kids love pasta. So I'll take the ground meat out and I'll add lentils. Now, lentils are amazing to replace meat. It has that texture. So if you like that ground meat texture, I would add cook green or brown lentils. If you like the more meat, like a mashed meatball texture in your spaghetti sauce, use the red lentils because they get more starchy.
Okay.
So you do that, and then just add a bunch of vegetables to it. Another thing is to help them find new recipes. Meatless Mondays. That's how I started my family's transition to more plant-based.
Yeah, when my kids were younger, I always did Meatless Mondays, and so yeah.
So I did that, and then I have this one method that worked really well with men. I used to work for the county government, and I would go and do workshops. And so when I worked with the police, the fire, the paramedics, sanitation, I had a lot of men in my classes. And so talk about taking their meat away, they would get upset. So I said, here's a method. It's called the vegan to heathen method. So I tell them, okay, let's just pretend you're plant-based until dinner.
Yeah.
All right, so I'd help them get, you know, some breakfast that was plant-based and lunch and snacks and help them plan their day. And then when they went home, they could have,
So
you know,
it's
that.
just small changes that you make one day at a time. And then if you try to do it all at once, you're like, I can't do it. You
just have to start. Like I said, when I started, it was just Meatless Monday.
Well, talking about all this, you know, vegetables and fruits, it can be expensive. So what are some tips that you would give for someone who's trying to go out there to the grocery store and they're like, all this healthy stuff is now too much for my grocery bill?
Well, the healthy processed stuff is expensive. So you want to go unprocessed food. So like if you're getting ready to go to the grocery store, the first thing I suggest you do is take a survey of what you have. You know, what potatoes you have, see what you have, and then pick out some recipes. The best things to go by is to get in-season produce, okay, because it's less expensive. The question oftentimes with produce is organic or inorganic, you know, is organic. I would direct people to www.ewg.org. It's an environmental working group. They have the Dirty Dozen.
The Clean 15.
And the Clean 15, right. So, you know, because pesticides are a problem and you don't want to ingest them. So you can go and help that. That'll help you with your produce.
I always say, like, shop the perimeter of the grocery store.
Yes.
Because typically what's on the aisles is mostly processed food.
Well, you know, and frozen fruits and vegetables are very economical, and believe it or not, it's healthier sometimes because they have to process it at peak freshness. So they're not going to freeze green strawberries.
Right.
So that's a way to save money. If you can find a store that you can buy things in bulk, like I know Earth Fare and Whole Foods have these bulk bins, and so those can be less expensive to get.
So you just kind of really got to figure it out. I know, you know, there's certain places you can shop that you can get produce a lot less expensive, like Aldi, I think is a great place to go.
And farmers markets, the farmers market. I mean, this time of year, it's a great time.
And maybe think about growing your own garden. It's fun. It's a great way to show your kids how you can grow food, or grandkids, and it's just fun to watch. But thank you so much for all the tips. And anybody that might be interested in maybe reaching out and grabbing one of those, they just can...
They can just email me. I think my email contact information is being posted. So they can
Awesome.
email me, and I can either send them a PDF of these, or they can ask me questions that I can give them some direction. And I have some of these hard copy, and if they would prefer that, I can make arrangements for that.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Tina, for just sharing some of your insight and your expertise and education. Before Tina's daughter, Sophia, comes to join us, I have another recipe for you in the kitchen with my mom, and this is my overnight oats. Hi, I'm Toni Suchka with Strength Healing, and I love to inspire healthy living and give tips, ideas, and encouragement for people to live a healthier lifestyle. This is my mom, Mary Sloan, and she is going to help me make a great recipe that I know you're going to love. This is called overnight oats.
Well, I love oats.
Well, I got this recipe. I will have to give a shout out to Elka Living. She was on a Strength Healing, Healthy Living show with us. And I follow her on Instagram, and she has the most incredible recipes.
Yes,
and
she
this was
does.
one of her recipes that she shared on Instagram, and I was like, I've got to try that. First of all, it's simple. That's what I look for, is simple. Whole, clean ingredients, and it tastes good. Those are the three things that have to qualify for me. So it's super easy. And you know, the thing about this is a lot of people eat oatmeal. Do you eat oatmeal?
I love oatmeal.
Well, if you buy the store-bought oatmeal in the packets, a lot of times they're full of sugar.
I don't buy those.
Okay, well, good.
Give me a pat.
I like steel-cut oats as well. Now, the oats I'm going to use today are gluten-free oats.
No, I don't get gluten-free.
So, you know, there's some controversy with that because oats are really supposed to be gluten-free,
Right,
but because of the way they're packaged and processed, they do
Aren't
cross.
the rolled oats better for you? The old-timey rolled oats?
Well, you know, I like to stick with steel-cut oats.
Well, maybe
But-
that's what I meant, the still good.
You know, with cross-contamination in factories, you have to really make sure if you're gluten-free to get gluten-free oats.
Right.
And I love this recipe because, like I said, it tastes good. It's great for breakfast. I've been hooked on this for a while, but it has the 3 things I think every meal should have, which is fat, fiber, and protein. FFP. If you have fat, fiber, and protein in every meal, it's going to stabilize your blood sugar so that you stay satisfied, full, and your blood sugar stays level so you're not going up and down with
These are
that.
called overnight
Overnight oats. So we actually take about a half a cup of dry oats, and I love to use cute little jars like this because
They
they're
are
just
cute.
fun to make it in and eat it the next day. So I'm going to go ahead and add about a half a cup of the overnight oats there.
You like fat, fiber, and cute little jars, huh?
Yes, fat, fiber, protein,
And cute
little jars.
Yes.
And then we'll add, I use a non-dairy milk. This is organic almond milk. You can use coconut milk, any kind of non-dairy milk, because this is going to be a dairy and gluten-free
Now, why would you use that
breakfast.
opposed to regular milk?
Well, a lot of people are dairy-free. I'm dairy-free. And also people have an intolerance to dairy. So this just eliminates that. Not always, but sometimes dairy can be cause inflammation in your body. So I don't do the dairy. The gluten's the same way. It can cause inflammation. So I just use a dairy-free, about a half a cup. I'm gonna eyeball that. So now we've got our oats and our almond milk. I'm gonna add about a teaspoon or half a teaspoon of vanilla extract, and then about a teaspoon. You could also use raw honey. This is maple syrup. Gonna use about a teaspoon of maple syrup just to give it some sweetness. And then what is so great is you just top it with berries, any kind of fruit
You don't
really
even cook
like.
the oatmeal
You
then.
don't cook it. So I'm putting some
amazing.
strawberries in.
But because of the liquid, it absorbs the liquid
will
and
absorb.
gets soft.
And here's some berries. I eat this almost every morning for breakfast.
Oh, wow.
So I'll make it the night before. The kids are always like, what are you doing, Mom? I'm like, I'm making my oats. I'll make like 3 or 4 at a time. I'll stick them in the refrigerator, and that way I've got breakfast to easily pull out.
And it's so nutritious, isn't it?
And there you go. And you just stick it in the refrigerator. It sits overnight or a couple hours if you can't wait for the next day.
Well, I thought I invented the recipe overnight oats because I just cook double and put half of them in the refrigerator and use
The
them next morning.
leftovers.
But this is great, Toni. I love this.
Now, this is one that actually sat overnight that I made. So you see how the oats are absorb the liquid?
I got to taste that.
So one of the things that I do that I add to it, wait,
Oh,
don't do it yet.
You're not finished with it?
I like to add a high quality protein powder because this has great fiber in it, but right now there's no fat or protein in it. And like I said, we want fat, fiber, and protein. And a high quality protein powder, one of them is this. This is one that I use. This is Juice Plus Complete. This actually has over 10 different fruits and vegetables in it and grains. So you can add, I normally do about a half a scoop, and that'll give me protein. I'll add that, and then this I love. I make this lasts me for a couple months, and I'll add some nuts and seeds to the top. This has
Is that coconut in there too?
unsweetened coconut. Isn't that pretty? It's got almonds, unsweetened coconut.
You made that up yourself?
I did. And pecans, walnuts, what else does it have?
I'm going to move in with you, Toni.
Pistachios and cacao nibs. So there's a little bit of chocolate in there for you.
Ooh.
So let's just take, I normally take about a tablespoon and I'll just sprinkle on top. And that'll give you some fat. So go ahead and try that out and see what you think.
Do you just go to the bottom?
You can just kind of go to the bottom with a little bit of fruit and some of the crunch there. And typically I would, like I said, I'll normally add some protein powder. Once you stir it all up, you've got the maple syrup or the honey, whichever you prefer. And that's going to give it the sweet. And the strawberries and the blueberries just make it super sweet too.
I will definitely try that at home.
So great way to get some nutrition in your body, easy, delicious. So if you want more recipes like this, you can go to my website at strengthhealing.com or follow me on social media on Facebook and Instagram at Strength Healing. Small changes made one day at a time is what improves your health. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. Even though my mom cannot be with us live, she is here in spirit and she is doing recipes in the kitchen with us. It's always fun doing recipes with her, just laughing and having a good time. But I've got our next guest, which is Tina Marie's daughter, Sophia Mendieta. Thank you for being with us.
Yes, thank you for having me.
I think you're my youngest healthy living guest yet, and I'm so excited about that. You're currently in your freshman year at Appalachian State, and you aspire to work as a dietitian in the future, taking after Mom.
Of course.
So that's awesome, and you also have a YouTube channel called So Fresh Sophia that teaches young adults how to meal prep plant-based foods and live a healthy life. I love it. So incredible.
you.
So let's get right into it. We got about 10 minutes, so I don't want to leave anything out. Now, we know you weren't always always a healthy eater, but when was it that you transitioned to become a healthy eater? Was that like when your mom just began to introduce those options?
Yeah, I think it's definitely a process. When I was young, I would go to my friend's house and, want to eat the junk food that was there, just because kids love sugar. And food manufacturers make food to be very appealing to young people. And so I definitely was the same as every other kid. But I think it was just my mom continually offering healthy options that was the key. And so just honestly, after a few years of doing that, I started to realize like, wow, I really do feel better eating healthy options, and I also just like the taste of them now better. Now that
And
takes
you
a few
say that
years.
the food is geared to kids. I remember watching cartoons on Saturday mornings when there was like actual cartoons on Saturday mornings, and all the commercials would be like high sugar cereals, and because you're like,
Go,
Mom,
yes.
Yeah.
so yeah, they definitely gear to the kids.
It's called the nag factor marketing.
Right. So I know when you actually have kids in the kitchen helping, they can cause a big mess. Do you really think that's worth it when you're trying to teach them to eat healthy? Is like the mess really worth it?
So I totally get that. My mom, whenever she could, she would have me in the kitchen. And I think the payoff is really worth it, because once I was like 12, I was making dinner for our family like by myself. And so I think, and obviously it wasn't like, chicken cordon bleu or creme brulee, but it was something that was helpful for me to be able to do for the family. And yeah, I think involving them also just helps to instill those healthy habits that later when they go off to college or, are living their own adult lives with their own children, that those things are priceless and things that need to be taught in order to live well. So
I'm still just wishing that all of these things rub off. The other day, my daughter was in like a little cute outfit, like she was going to work out, and I was like, "What are you doing?" "I'm going for a run." And I was like, oh, my heart was like, just go exercise. When they just see what you're doing, then they, kids will catch on.
yeah.
So how has eating healthy let you live your fullest potential as a child and also now?
So this is something that really was the reason I decided to study like nutrition and dietetics in college, because as a kid, like all of my friends would be, missing extracurriculars, cheer, sports, because they were sick. And for our family, it was really a priority to make food be preventative, towards disease.
Yes.
And so I really was able to thrive academically and extracurricularly because I wasn't getting sick all the time.
Right.
And then now in my more adult life, I feel like because I feel my best, I'm able to pour myself more into the things that, my responsibilities, the things I have to do. So honestly, the payoff on investing in your health is just priceless.
Right. It's just really worth it when
Yeah.
you can actually notice and recognize that your friends are getting sick and you're not. I know we both, use Juice Plus as a tool in our tool belt to live a healthy lifestyle, and it's basically plants in a capsule. And my son had realized that he had some eczema, and he's 18, he quit taking it, and he realized it came out. He was like, Mom, that stuff really did help. So it's just neat to see like the shift in a mindset when you can teach them just small, simple things, that can help. And now I know you're super proud of her. I would be really proud. So what made eating healthy appealing to you as a child? Was it helping in the kitchen or?
I think, so for me, it was the intention that my mom put into meal prepping and cooking. And I actually brought a little cookbook here. One thing she would have us do is help her meal plan and pick out recipes. So for me, like, I wouldn't be into some of the weird, funky recipes she was gonna try, but if I picked them out and I would put little tabs on them, I would be much more interested in participating and trying it because I picked it.
Right.
So
That's
that was
great
something
tip.
that was super helpful for me growing up.
I wish I had you. I haven't even thought of some of the things. It's just, I feel like your kids eat what they eat when they're out. And I feel like pizza is just everywhere, But as a parent, I've just tried to supply a healthy meal at home and eat in as much as possible. So I love the idea, though, of the cookbook and allowing them to help pick. And then that allowed you to own it kind of thing, and get to choose exactly what it was. So share with us some practical steps that you think a parent can take to instill into their child for healthy, living, or just small changes that they can make.
That's good. So obviously involving them in meal planning, and then also just being a role model. That was a huge thing for me. My mom used to be a Zumba instructor, and so just like seeing her being consistent and putting intentionality towards her health, and then also putting intention towards making healthy eating appealing for us. And that was the biggest thing for me, I think, because you can eat healthy and, force your child to eat vegetables, but unless you make it taste good, they're not going to want to eat it. And so I think instilling in them the idea that like healthy food is delicious and teaching them how to do that.
Yeah, and how to make it delicious.
Exactly.
Well, what would you say to parents of picky eaters?
I would say it will get better.
Okay.
They eventually will turn around. But getting them involved in the kitchen is honestly the best way to get over that hump. And then also just encouraging them to take what's called a thank you bite. And so even if, you get to the dinner table and they're like, this is terrible, Mom, and your feelings are a little hurt, but at that point you're like, well, can you just try it for me? And that's all you have to say. And so they just try it, and if they don't like it and it's so bad that they cannot stand it, you tell them they can spit it out in a napkin. But just the act of trying it, because kids' taste buds change so rapidly, and so if you're just constantly exposing them to these foods, eventually
because you crave
they'll
what
come
you
around.
eat.
Yes.
You eat sugar, you crave sugar. You eat more vegetables, you'll crave more vegetables.
Exactly.
And my kids used to come to the table and they'd have a look, and I'd look at them and they'd say, "Thank you for dinner." I'm like, that's what I want to hear.
Yes.
And I've always said the same, just try it. You can try it. If you don't like it, maybe we won't make that again.
Well,
but
I'll tell you,
just try it.
one of the recipes that I made that they all put their nose up to, I made creamy lentil soup, and it's kind of a gray-brown color, and they're like, we're not eating that. But when they come home from college or wherever, Mom,
what
can
they
you make
want.
that soup?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's about flavor. We got about 2 minutes left, but I did want to ask you this one last question. We sit down as a family every single night. It's very rare that we don't, and we've always made a point to do that. Do you think that sitting down as a family and having dinner together impacts just that healthy mindset.
Absolutely. That was one thing that was a huge priority in our family. And I think number one, it added structure to our family life, because life gets really busy and you're going to and fro all these places. And so having that time is sacred together. And I also think that it establishes that food is a communal thing, and food is something that brings people together and bonds relationships. And so I think those two things really honed in on my relationship with food and made it a positive experience growing up for me.
I do think it's really important. I think so many families, like you said, are going and high-fiving in and out the door, and I know a lot of families that they don't ever sit down and eat together. So that's just been something that's been a priority in our home, and that's neat to hear that it does impact. And I think around the table is when relationship is built and grows deeper. And so when we can throw in that healthy aspect, that's mentally and emotionally healthy for us.
Exactly, bringing health full circle.
Thank you so much for being with us. I know you guys traveled to get here, and I really appreciate it. It means a lot to
We
me.
love being here with you.
Yes, thank you so much.
You have to come back and maybe we'll do some things in the kitchen.
I would love that.
Well, I would love to pray over our viewers tonight. Tina, I would love for you to just bless them and pray over them. We've had calls that have come in for requests, and we just want to agree together, because the word said when we agree in touching any one thing that it shall be done.
Yes. Father, I just thank you so much for bringing us together. I thank you for the viewers and for the prayer requests. I pray for anyone that is suffering from a chronic condition, Lord, that you would lead them down the path of healing, whatever it is, Father. Guide their steps, help them plan their diet, get them to a health coach, have them reach out to Toni or Sophia or myself, and let us help them with what they have going on in their life, Father. And all of those prayer requests that have been sent in, Father, I lay my hands and I decree and declare that every prayer request that was made will be fulfilled. In Jesus' name, thank you.